Yes,
shit.
yes, y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all.
He don't take. See, he don't take when we dey plan the game.
Okay.
He don't take when we rockin' the day.
Yes.
Dope seats day, we know they play.
Okay.
Hi guys, how's it going? It's Cormega here again, and today I want to go over a game I played earlier today. I enjoyed this game a lot because it was against an old foe on ICC. So I have I have people I play regularly on different platforms, and on this platform, this particular person always gets the better of me. But today, I turned the tables on them, and that made me very happy, especially as it was a very difficult game. And when I analyzed it after the fact, I discovered that I was actually playing poorly for a significant portion of the game, but I still managed to get it out the fire. And so I'm very, very happy about that. And I wanted to share that with you. And, you know, maybe you could learn a thing or two from my mistakes. So let's dig in. So how did we start? He played e4. I played e5. I always respond e5 to e4, d4. I always meet the pawn in the center. I like to face my opponent straight up and, you know, just fight. That's who I am. That's my temperament. And that's how it comes out in my chess. He plays g3. I play knight c6. He plays bishop g2, knight f6, knight e2, bishop c5. He plays c3. I'm going to play queen e7. Now my plan is to castle and then eventually open up and develop my pieces, you know, the normal way. But he had other plans in mind. He plays d4, immediately unsettling my pieces in the center and staking his claim as well. So I respond by exchanging pawns, boom, and then I checked with my bishop on b4. He blocks with knight b to c3, and then I take the pawn on e4 because it's looking like it's free, you know. The engine doesn't like this. It gives a slight edge to white here. My opponent castles, and now I'm left sort of hanging. My knight is under attack by the bishop and the knight, so I have to do something. I take his knight on c3 with mine, and then he takes back with c3, getting a tempo. Now a tempo is when you have a move in hand. You know, you force your opponent to make a move that's, you know, not particularly advantageous, and you have a move in hand that you can use any which way you like. It's quite a good thing if you learn how to use them properly. So I move back with my bishop to a5, and then he continues with d5. He's pumping now. He's attacking aggressively. I play my knight to e5. He plays f4, attacking my knight again, and I move to knight g6. He plays his knight to d4. Now his knight is centralized. He has a lot of space in the center here. Although I'm also eyeing things, I'm very wary of the fact that he can bring out his rook and pin my queen to the king. So I'm trying to make sure I don't fall into that trap. I'm also eyeing his c3, because if I can manage to take that bishop, if it's unprotected, I'll be attacking two pieces at the same time. So I castle. He brings his rook out anyway, staking his claim to that file. I hide my queen. The engine says queen f6 was better, but in the heat of the moment, obviously, you don't always play the best moves in blitz. So I played my queen back to her home square. He plays bishop a3, attacking my rook. So I move the rook to, I block the path of the bishop rather. He plays queen d3. He's finally connected his rooks and completed his development. He is way, way ahead. However, the engine evaluation here says that black is slightly at an advantage, which is surprising to me, because I was very uncomfortable at this point in the game. I thought I had played myself into a cramped position. I couldn't move any of my pieces out. You know, my bishop was in la land, and I couldn't get my queen and bishop out. So I was trying my best to manage the situation until I found an opportunity to counterattack. I brought my bishop back to pin that knight to his king, and then he moved his king out of the way. He was seeing everything I was doing, and then I put my bishop out on d7, my white bishop, and then he played c4. After that, I brought my rook out, contesting that file with his rook, and then he played bishop b2. Now I can see that he's eyeing my g7 square. I can see that already. So I'm going to try and play some prophylactic moves to prevent any issues. I play a5. He plays his queen to c3. He's already lined up his bishop and queen, eyeing that pawn there. So I play f6. The engine doesn't like this and gives a slight advantage to white here. But I had to prevent the mate somehow, and that was the only way I could see. So he plays h4. I play rook up. I'm still trying to find a way to get my queen out, to connect my rooks, and, you know, harmonize the pieces somehow. Then he plays h5, attacking my knight. So I move the knight back to f8. He brings his bishop to e4, eyeing the h7 square. And then I play queen e8. Now the plan here is to attack the bishop. I know he's not going to let me take it, but he has to be very careful. And now I have two pieces on that file. I can contest the file a bit more aggressively. So he plays queen f3. I think that's a blunder, and the engine agrees as well, because the evaluation bar goes down significantly. But I don't think I quite executed or took advantage of this properly. I went ahead and played f5. After f5, he took the pawn on f5 with his knight. I take back with bishop. Now he plays his queen back to c3, attacking that pawn again. He can't take back, because if he does that, his rook would be vulnerable. I'd be able to take his rook with my rook and queen. So he goes back to c3, still threatening the mate there. If anything, if the protector should leave g7 unprotected, then he'll be able to mate there. At this point, I took the bishop. After a long think, by the way, he takes back with his rook, and then I took the pawn on h5 with a check. His king moves to g2, and then I double up my rooks here, attacking his rook and trying to lay claim to that file. He doubles up his rooks. He's still trying to convince me to leave the protection of the g7 square so he can use this battery to perform a mate, but I'm very careful. I bring my queen back to f7. He takes. We exchange rooks. And then he brings his queen back to f3. At this point, I think I'm clearly ahead. I'm a bit more comfortable because there are less pieces on the board to worry about, and I'm a whole piece ahead. So I bring my knight out to g6. He plays f5. I put it on e5, knight e5, attacking his queen. He takes the knight with his bishop. I take back with my queen. I'm beginning to get more comfortable. He plays g4. I bring my bishop out, just trying to see what he wants to do. He keeps pushing his pawn. He pushes it to g5, and then I play queen to e3. I'm threatening to come to the back here and do some harassment of his king. He exchanges queens, and then he pushes his pawn to g6. We exchange pawns. I bring out my king, just keeping an eye out for my bishop. At this point, I think the game is won, actually. But we do this little dance for a little while. I almost blunder the game, actually, at some point, because he manages to queen his pawn. But it's all futile. Eventually, I managed to get my queen, and at this point, he resigned. So yeah, this was the game. I think it was a very interesting game, and it was against a worthy opponent. He's a very tough guy. In fact, this is one of the very few wins I've had against him. Tell me what you think. Do you think I could have played it better? If you have any suggestions, or if you have any games that you want to put forward for me to analyze on the channel, please send them through. I'm happy to go over them. We'll analyze them together. And yeah, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I will see you next time.